Of course, have a very large healthcare industry.
Where the interest component is Secretary into the fund.
for having me on.
Good morning, good evening. Welcome back everyone dito sa latest episode ng Deep Dive. Just as we promised, we're gonna have again with us the leading experts, thought leaders, and statesmen in the country. At of course, isa dyan ang former Associate Justice Antonio Carpio. Thank you so much, Justice Carpio, and congratulations! Ito na, medyo 1-year anniversary na since pinag-usapan natin to, Justice. Congratulations on our first anniversary of your PhilHealth case. Andyan na. Can you tell us something about it, Justice? How are you feeling, and what are the implications of this Supreme Court ruling?
Well, we are, of course, happy and grateful to the Supreme Court for a unanimous decision. And the court upheld, at least for our petition, because there are several petitioners here. No, we have to give credit to the other petitioners also. Isambayan is one of the many petitioners, and we were happy that we were upheld by the Supreme Court on two basic points that the Constitution says no law shall be passed authorizing the transfer of appropriations. Itong 2024 General Appropriations Act authorized the Department of Finance Secretary to transfer the excess funds, that's in quotations, of government corporations. No, that will violate that provision. No law shall be passed authorizing the transfer of appropriations. And the only exception is the President is allowed for the entire executive branch to transfer savings, not appropriations. It has to be savings from one item to the other. So it's only the President who can transfer funds, but these are savings, and you determine savings towards the end of the year, no? Because if you have not started a project, so the funds are still there, and you cannot start the project because something went wrong, there was a flood, you cannot build a road right away. So there are savings, but only savings ang pwedeng ilipat, no? And there is another provision, very basic, that money raised through taxation for a specific purpose shall be treated as a special fund and can be used only for that purpose. Itong sin taxes for our taxes, excise taxes on alcohol, cigarette, it says there in the Internal Revenue Code that X percent, almost 90% or 100%, will go to PhilHealth to fund the operations of PhilHealth for the health care of the people, no? 120 million Filipinos. So that's a special fund, and we were upheld by the Supreme Court. You cannot use special fund for any other purpose. If you use it for another purpose, that's a technical malversation. Unless the purpose is accomplished, hindi pa naman accomplished yung purpose ng PhilHealth. It will never be accomplished because health is a continuing expense, no? It will even grow because as the population ages, no? So we were upheld on these two very vital provisions, no? So we're very happy. Now the problem is the court said that the court actually directed the executive branch to include, and Congress to include in the 2026 budget the 60 billion for the reimbursement. We're a little bit, I'm personally a little bit hesitant because the GA8 will come from our taxes, di ba? So if the reimbursement to PhilHealth will come from our taxes, it is as if we are reimbursing PhilHealth for money that was stolen by the flood control scammers. Bakit tayo mag-reimburse? dapat yung flood control scammers will return the money. So we are planning to make a manifestation that the primary source of the return of the funds should be the restitutions by the flood scammers. Like si Regional Director Alcantara returned 110 million, no? So that should be part of the restitution to PhilHealth. Madami pa. The government has frozen about 13 billion pesos worth of assets. So that can also be a source. Now, the secondary source should be the General Appropriations Act if there is a deficiency. But I mean, the lesson should be conveyed to those who steal funds of the government that they will be the ones to return. It will not be us, the taxpayers, who will be returning what they have stolen, no? So
basically,
that's
Justice,
just
what you're
the only kink in that decision, the only probably part that we can improve, because if the money will come from the entire funds, will come return of the funds will come from the General Appropriations Act of 2026, pera natin yun eh. And I want the primary source to be the restitutions from the flood control scammers para the people will focus on this recovery. No, we will be interested in the recovery because that's how we get our refund. So yun lang.
So basically, mga Diskaya cars and Diskaya for basically
Yes.
PhilHealth Fund, no?
Yeah. If
Um,
they are auctioned, the proceeds will go to the PhilHealth. Yun.
in terms of legal liability, bago kong balikan itong practical implication na to, Justice. In terms of legal liability, ano bang can secretary, he's still a secretary, right? Executive secretary, Ralph Recto be held accountable for that very, very questionable illegal fund transfer? What is the legal liability or culpability here?
Well, ang defense niya, his defense is that he just followed the law because it's there in the General Appropriations Act. Well, that's a good defense. The only way you can overturn that defense is if you can show that he actually schemed from the very start to get the funds of PhilHealth and put it in flood control because he has interest in this flood control, no? Like, for example, he's friendly with the Gardiolas. But I found out that that provision in the unprogrammed appropriations, where funds of excess funds of government corporations shall be transferred to the National Treasury by the Secretary of Finance. It did not come from him. It came from Congressman Joey Salceda, who submitted it to the Committee on Appropriations under Zaldico. No? So it looks like you cannot say that it's part of this grand conspiracy. So if he merely relied on the law, sabi niya, wala akong choice, nakalagay sa batas. If that is correct, then you cannot go after him. So he has a good defense because I found out, I got a copy of the bill filed by Congressman Joey Salceda. Now, he was actually the author of this provision. So we cannot bring in Secretary
Recto, no? Yeah.
Recto as a conspirator here from the start, no? Kasi he was forced to transfer the funds because that was in the law. Because this particular provision never existed in any prior General Appropriations Act. One-off lang ito. It was just inserted in the 2024 budget and it was not inserted again in the 2025. So this was very unique. The person who thought of this had something in mind because unusual. It just popped up. They inserted it in the 2024 budget. It never appeared before in any budget.
Mm. So, safe si Recto.
Well, in that sense, yes, uh, legally, but morally, he could not also say na I'm not going to do it because it's in the law. Yun ang problema. No?
So at least in terms of legal culpability, may he can wiggle this out.
Yeah, he can wiggle out.
Um,
And I
right.
wouldn't go after anybody unless it's very clear also, no? So sabi ko, if he was really the author of this, then we have something. But it turns out he's not the author of that insertion in the unprogrammed appropriation, no? That the funds of GOCCs will be transferred. It came from somebody else. So apparently, he had nothing to do with that insertion. But when he became Secretary of Finance, Anduna, he just implemented it.
Okay, so safe for now si
Yeah.
Secretary Recto, especially now that he's even in a more important position as a little president, executive secretary. Um,
But
practically,
there is something
yeah.
else, no, Richard. Although he did not author it, Secretary Recto keeps on saying that it was a common sense approach to optimize the use of government funds. Yun, I don't agree with that. Because we all know if it's put there in flood control, the leakage will be huge. There will be ghost projects. There will be substandard projects. So for him to say it will optimize the use of the government funds, I think that's way out.
It's
That's
a stretch. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, oy, and what do you have in mind? I mean, that one will not fly. I think he should stop saying that because that will just make people mad. No, if you put it in flood control, it is an optimum use of government funds. Well,
I
yun ang
think
problema.
the expression is just take the win. Parang tahimik ka na. Okay na, tama na yan. I mean, just be happy na hindi ka madamay. Like, just zip it, right? Less talk, less mistake, no? So, just why do you think Supreme Court decided dun sa restitution part? Ganito,
Well,
basically, taxpayers will have to fix this problem with taxpayers' money. Parang,
Well, I think it was parang default approach to return the funds. It should come from the GAA. They did not uh, uh, think that there were people like me who will say no. I mean, we will not reimburse PhilHealth because the one who stole the money were these guys. Why should we reimburse PhilHealth for that? Well, I think it was not that was not well explained. It was not in the. They just ordered the return because the government took it, so the government must return. But the government will return from our taxes. Yun ang problema.
interesting. So, pwede pang ayusin yan, Justice.
Yeah,
We
well,
have
we have
time.
to because there's time for a motion for recon, and we will file a manifestation that this is the consequence if it will come solely from the uh, GAA. It has to be sequential. Let's get first from the flood control scammers, and if there's nothing to get anymore from them, then it will be paid out of the general fund of the government.
So basically, yung mga maleta ni Zaldico dapat ibalik or something like that. 'Di ba? May mga maleta. Medyo malaking fund yan. I mean, you need a lot of paano kung justice ginastos ng mga walang yung kurakot na yan?
Well,
Hinumba lang nila.
we
Paano
don't know
kaya?
where those maletas went, no?
I mean, baka pwede balik yung mga maleta na yan. I think that could help us on so many levels. But in terms of logistics, do you think there's enough time and capacity to extract yung restitution na kailangan to fund the PhilHealth for the upcoming fiscal year? I mean, I'm just talking about just the practicalities of this.
Well, yes, because there are no constraints naman. PhilHealth they still have funds now, so they can use their other funds in the meantime, and they are now given, I think, about 50 plus billion for this year. Uh, so I don't think
You top it up.
they will
So you
stop
top it up. Parang
operations.
idagdag mo lang dun sa
Yeah.
allocated. Yung yung
Uh,
reinstored na funds from yung mga kurakot na yan.
so this is an instance where the people called the attention of government, the Supreme Court, and they listened. The Supreme Court listened, so we're happy. But we still have other petitions to the court. We have we're of course, questioning the 2025 budget because the the uh, the appropriation for education was lower than public works, but they corrected this in the 2026. You have a trillion peso budget now for DepEd, the highest ever. So with this pressure from civil society, they tend to comply, no? Because there's the civil society is watchful, vigilant, and very demanding. So they have no choice but to give in. That's why this is important that civil society should grow stronger. No?
It is working, Justice. What? So it is working. Yung working
Yes,
within the bounds of law and
yeah,
civil society
it is
mobilization.
working. It's very difficult, very tedious, but uh, you will get results. Not all the time, all the results that you want, but more or less you can see progress, no?
Just good
And
enough. Just good enough.
yeah, good enough because at least we're correcting these mistakes.
Justice, going back to this issue, where does that leave the ICI? Because sabi ni Erisa, patay ng ICI ngayon because another major figure, some would say the last major credible figure has left the body, basically disparaging it as a fig leaf of legitimization or performative investigation by that. Pati yung reimbursement, naayos lang nung isang araw, sabi ni Azurin. I mean, is ICI running out of purpose? Has it met its sell by date or can it be still modified? Ano bang tinitignan natin? At the same time, we also see the Ombudsman office stepping up and the disguise may finally face the charges they deserve.
Well, I will take the the cue of uh, what Ombudsman Remulla said, that the ICI may have only 2 more months to go, at most, at the maximum. So maybe by the end of the year they could be winding down already, because the ombudsman has all the powers really to conduct the investigation. We just wanted the ICI because the ombudsman was inactive at that time, but now we have a very active ombudsman, and he's investigating. As long as he keeps on investigating, he may have his priorities, but at least it's moving. It's okay with us.
Which is what we were suspecting for a long time, no? Na pag maayos na yung ombudsman or just good enough ang ombudsman, the ICI will just be a temporary auxiliary, basically
Yes.
band-aid effort and then mafo-fold in na rin eventually.
Yeah, and what Babe Singson said, that they're not getting any support in terms of staff or or uh, uh, or other ancillary support or even financial support. No, so it's no, better wind it down if that's the issue, because the ombudsman has a full complement of investigators and lawyers.
Medyo may redundancy na rin in a way, no? But could you say, Justice, that from a performative political standpoint, the ICI served its purpose in a sense that baka it diffused some anger and tensions or at least created the impression that something is happening. I mean, in fairness, nag-auction naman sila. There were some hearings among others. Kasi, not as many people showed up dun sa last weekend, kumpara sa September 21 trillion peso march. So some would say, yeah, nationwide, medyo malaki, probably 100,000. Pero dun sa EDSA, it was not as big this time. Some are suspecting baka naman people are still giving it a chance, seeing just good enough out of ICI among others. What is your read of that, Justice?
Well, I think it's the ICI has served its purpose, because we really wanted action right away, and the ombudsman there was still a vacancy at that time. So I think we can normalize things now because there's a very zealous ombudsman who wants to do his job properly. So he has all uh, the, uh, the personnel, the the facilities to conduct the investigation. So let him do it.
Um, so Justice, what is your read of what happened over the weekend dun sa rallies and all? Where does isang bayan and Bishop Ambo and that group stand? Kasi parang for me, battle of five armies. I mean, the other day we had G.R.R. Martin, yung writer ng Game of Thrones dito sa Oxford Union. So parang feeling ko battle of five armies, TDS, admin, kayo, and then yung mga tibak na gusto nila resign all, and then yung mga military junta crazy people. So five armies na nagko-compete. Where are we? Nasaan tayo sa battle of five armies na yan, Justice?
Well, this is a developing situation. And for example, our group, we want to follow the Constitution, of course, and we don't want to change the present president because the successor will be might be very
Hindi kaya na
progressive.
hostage tayo, Justice. Because some people are saying, parang tama lang ginawa ni BBM na hindi niya na-impeach si Sara or hindi niya piniship kasi dahil ngayon na-hostage na lahat tayo. Like kahit anong galit
Yeah,
natin kay
but
BBM.
that's only in the meantime because
Exactly.
if uh, the crisis deepens, if the people, the patience of the people wears out, that nothing is happening, then these people could turn against the administration and say, hindi bali na, no? Resign all na. It could go to resign all. So that's why the pressure is on the president to deliver. If
Yeah.
he does not deliver, then the next step will be resign all.
So basically, Justice, we're holding the door. Oh, hindi ayusin yan, we'll let them through the gates. Ganun ba yun?
Yeah, well, because this has to be calibrated. We are not on the same wavelength. No, some have already processed in their mind that this administration is a gunner, so they want to go to the next step. We are trying to look at all things. What are the consequences with respect to constitutional issues? So, and we have a petition with the Supreme Court that you have to order now Congress to enact the anti-political dynasty law. We're waiting for that. That will give us a lot of breathing space. No, if the Supreme Court will say Congress passed now the law, so the the focus will be on Congress, the pressure will be on Congress. At least it's moving, because a lot of our people are saying that the number one problem of the country are the political dynasties, because they control the budget and they put their flood control projects in the budget. So we hope to move to that front. We hope the Supreme Court will understand that this is not something that we can delay. We have to resolve the issue of political dynasties. It's very crucial.
Very crucial. Just rewind lang ako ng konti bago ko balikan si Sara Duterte kasi some are wondering dito sa Battle of Five Armies, where do they stand? So, may mga ilan episode tayo, Justice, kung saan pinag-usapan natin yung ruling nyo nung panahon na nasa Korte Suprema kayo, dun sa disbursement acceleration program ni Pinoy, di ba? Na parang overreach siya. After itong ruling ng Supreme Court ngayon, dito sa PhilHealth issue, ano po yung implication for fiscal policy or yung coordinates of fiscal prerogative ng executive branch? Sa tingin nyo ba, we have created enough safeguards? Although, of course, I know you're potentially pushing for more. Pero restitution issue kasi yan eh. Pero in terms of yung prerogative ng executive, in terms of fund transfer and fund allocation, nasan po tayo in terms of constitutional parameters, Justice?
Well, we so far we have preserved the guardrails in the Constitution on the executive abusing the use, no, of government funds. But this is a never-ending struggle. Uh, when we struck down the PDAF and the DAP, Congress thought of another way. They'd remove any reference to any recommendation by members of Congress to where the money would go, but they have an understanding, an unwritten rule. Oy, akin ito, you call me first before you disburse this. And so the congressman will say, okay, you can disburse that, 20% is mine. And so that's authority to the DPWH to rig the bidding. So it became an unwritten law. I mean, so they always morph into this. So because, well, that's how you can maintain your dynasty. Otherwise, where will you get the money to pay the people, no, to buy their votes?
That's a very important point na pwede natin balikan. Just as on the issue of kasi may kausap ako dito sa Oxford ng mga expert na economists na tinitignan din yung situation. Sabi, ano tong allocables? Like parang napapaisip sila, ang ganda ng research and development department ng ating mga trapos. They keep on coming up with new iterations of pork barrel basically, right? Bakit tayo umabot dito, Justice? Bakit ang laki ng corruption ngayon? I mean, in terms of guardrails, where did we go wrong? What is missing and what we should fix? I know medyo technical yan and we had, I think, Chel Magno, among others have said a lot on this. But from your reading, Justice, saan tayo nakulang dito sa, ano tong allocables? Ano nangyari? Ba't nag-mutate itong pork barrel na ito?
Well, because the president needs Congress to pass the laws that he wants. And they develop a relationship where, okay, it became transactional. We will pass this, but we need our pork barrel. Like, for example, the case of ABS-CBN. The president said, Duterte at the time, do not renew the franchise. If you do not vote according to my instruction, you will not get your pork barrel. I mean, the amount that's allocated to you for your district. Gagawin ilalagay niya for later release, FLR, hindi re-release. So that became the tool to control Congress. And Congress also, it was happy because they can maintain themselves in power with this kind of relationship. Because tinanggal namin yung DAP and PDAF, so they are now dependent on the president. They cannot put there in the budget, this will go to my district, wala na. It will now be the president who will say, okay, I'll put it in your district after the budget has been passed.
So basically, Justice, what you're saying, naging more arbitrary pa ito dahil
The president
officially
became
bawal
more
ng pork barrel.
powerful. The president
Exactly.
became more powerful.
Very good point.
But this could have been counterbalanced if the congressman only put their line items. No? Pero naglagay sila ng line item eh. If you look at the 2024-23 budget, even the 2025, ang daming flood control in their district. Flood control. Yun yung line item. So, okay, to counterbalance the power of the president, they put it in the budget, but linagay lang flood control. So makita mo na that they're going to run away with the money, flood control.
So basically, perfect storm to, no, Justice? So you had a much more authoritarian leader under Digong, right, who was shameless in weaponizing the office and bullying everyone. But you also had a much more corrupt government, which was open to cut these deals and give a piece of flesh sa Kongreso.
Yeah.
And precise because wala nang automatic PDAF, basically ano na to, negosasyon na lang sa presidente yan, hanap buhay na lang to.
Yeah, exactly. So the president got mad at ABS-CBN, I will not allow a renewal. Everybody towed the line because that was election year. And he wanted the third telco to be given to the Chinese. I want the Public Service Act to be amended. Sumunod sila overwhelmingly because it was an election year. You need you need your pork barrel. So you need the flood control projects. So that has been the relationship. So that's why I think what we should do, uh, we should strengthen the presence of civil society in the bidding committee, because all the members of the bidding committee will to sign off. So they cannot they cannot just invent a bidding if there is a civil society guy there, because he will be present. Uh, and then we have to put online all these flood control projects, the dates, the names of the contractors, and the public can take pictures and upload it, so we will know what's happening. Whether how come there's 100% payment when only 50% work has been accomplished. So it really depends a lot on civil society now. You know, so we have to have a very active role here, uh, uh, and well, if you really press, we get a ruling like this, no, in the PhilHealth. So in Isambayan, we have a website on all the flood control projects all over the Philippines, the location, the amount, the contractor, and we want the public to go there to that site to take pictures and upload. We want to know what's happening. So we have to drum up interest of the public to really be the guardians, no? To watch over these projects, because these projects are located in mountains na mahirap puntahan, because they deliberately put these flood control projects in the mountains so that nobody can check. So uh, we have this website, and we want people to take pictures of the project, so we'll know if it's a ghost project or substandard. And that's the only way we can prevent ghost projects, no? Because all these people are in cahoots: DPWH, DBM, even COA. So the public must get into the picture.
And Justice, dun sa line items and all, medyo pinag-usapan natin before yan. Pero for the purpose of people who want to appreciate this more, di ba pinag-usapan din natin yung slicing na ginagawa nila para dumami. Ito yung road, ito i-slice nila. Can you explain that? Kasi ano yun medyo creative talaga ang mga politiko natin in getting the maximal funds. What's going on there?
Well, they call it chop the entire length. If it's 100 let's say it's 20 kilometers, they divide it into 5 kilometers, 5 kilometers, and sometimes they overlap. No, so you get a lot of wastage there, because each contractor will mobilize, and the mobilization fee will be uh,
Aha, so one road project bibigyan mo sa four contractors, even with some overlaps, and each will give you commission. So four times happier lahat. Ganun ang
yeah.
kalakaran.
I mean, there will be more people who will have the contract, and these things overlap. It's very wasteful. So we should have a rule that you cannot, if it's, let's say you cannot break it into several parts if it's just 1 hectare, 1 kilometer, or if
So you
it's
put a threshold, Justice.
yeah,
You say for
you put
this
a
threshold,
threshold.
wala nang
Yeah.
chop-chop.
Uh,
Walang chop-chop below this.
and that's the other one is because they build the road, asphalt or cement, and when the rain comes, they're all washed out. So you have to require a guarantee that for the next 10 years, this road will not be eroded. And if it's eroded, you have to maintain it. And they have to have a bond with the GSIS, because right now their bonds come from private companies, and all these private companies that issue the bonds are now denying that they issue the bonds, because imagine you have how many tens of billions of contracts, and they issued 30% the performance bond. They'll go bankrupt if they will honor all of these bonds. That's why they're now starting to disown the bonds. So if it's GSIS, well, the people there cannot disown because the government laws, anti-graft laws are very strict, and yes, will require hard collateral. Their houses will have to be mortgaged to the GSIS. So if it's a private company, the private company will just want to get the commission and then deny that they issued that insurance bond. So we have to, tighten all these rules.
Thank you so much, Justice, for that. Let's go to the last part, but not the least part. What is your read of this survey showing that it's Sara Bongo again? I mean, kind of another DDS for 2028. Are you of the Ronald Llama school of thought, in the denialist school of thought? Nag-shade na ako kay Sir Ronald na. Hindi, mga ano yan, mga bagong survey lang. Hindi Hello, Paul Station. Sobeles also had a survey on this last year and still showed Sarah was in the pole
Well,
position.
I don't think that the two can join forces in one team. I think it's water and oil, no?
But the oil
So
will be there if the water is out of the picture, hindi kaya?
I think the rupture is so deep. I don't think it can be mended. But it's possible that Bongo could support Sarah in other ways. But I don't think Sarah will accept him as a VP. And besides, it doesn't make sense. Davao, Davao. You never get your president and vice president from the same city, from the same party, from the same political grouping.
Correct. So that means someone like Mark Oleta, a legal luminary like Mark Oleta, could be in contention, or could be, surprise, surprise, another Marcos, Amy Marcos, unless she's totally burned sa north of the Philippines, per my last
Well,
information.
that's another taboo that will have to be broken. Two women running for president and vice president at the same time, no? Same ticket. So uh, uh, I think it's too early. There are many things that will happen before 2028. It's still early in the game.
Early in the game, but does that mean, Justice, na dapat may clarity na rin sinong tatakbo from the good side? Kumbaga, na hindi
Well,
team kadiliman, team kasamaan.
yes. While I say it's too early in the game, but the the emerging candidates must already be visible by now and uh, should start already forming coalitions, getting support now. I mean, you cannot say, I will think about it and I will start campaigning and organizing in 2027. I mean, that's too late.
Medyo magparamdam sila. But hindi kaya, Justice, ang fear dito maging mukhang epal sila, or they're hijacking this legitimate grievance against corruption for political ends, or you just should be honest about, like, okay, kaming alternative. Pagod na kayo sa corruption, kami nang pipilin nyo come 2028 or even earlier if there's some regime change or something.
Well, you don't have to announce that you're running now, but you have to prepare. I mean, organize, but it will not be visible yet. There will be no announcements, of course.
Uh, and how do you make sure hindi maging divisive yung potential way by which you choose the next leader of the real opposition?
Well, there will always be divisions. That's part of the process. But what is important is you get all the rest to rally behind the candidate that is finally chosen. No? Yun ang importante.
As of this conversation, again, you can say maaga pa, but it looks like wala pang natural candidate ang admin. Or, I mean, I'm sure the current DPAA secretary may have certain ambitions. I don't know na about the Torres. So Torres is out of the question for admin side. But um, speaking of oil and water, do you see a possibility of admin supporting a progressive candidate, liberal progressive candidate, at least out of fear na makabalik ang mga Dutertes? What about that aspect? A
I
reverse
see
unity.
that that scenario is possible because if the Marcoses don't have a candidate who is viable, they might have to join forces with the moderates, with the yellows and the pinks. So yes, I don't rule out that possibility.
A reverse unit team. But what should be last point, Justice, ano ba dapat ang mga terms of reference para siguraduhin na hindi ito alliance of convenience lang or walang basically hindi ito parang isang kontrata, tulungan namin kayo pero mamaya wag niyo na kami investigate pag nasa Malacan. I mean, like, how what should be the term of reference there ideally, Justice? Although I know real politics is going to be much more complicated.
Well, that's a tough question because there will always be backdoor deals and backroom deals, and you cannot avoid that. Uh, but I think with a candidate, for example, like Lenny, you can trust her that she's not going to sell the country down the drain. No? I mean, that is your assurance. No? And I think it's not impossible to put to get the Marcoses to support the a candidate like Lenny. If they don't, I because I don't see them putting up any strong candidate right now. No, and they don't even have to be a vice president. Also, I mean, they'll probably be happy to have one or two in the Senate. So their problem is the Sarah said that has already communicated, telegraphed her intentions. I mean, she's gonna physically wipe out the Marcoses and the Romualdeses. So the Marcoses and Romualdeses really don't have a choice now.
Kaya sabi ko, Battle of Five Armies talaga. Tolkien pa rin tayo eh. Hindi na to game of Tolkien talaga, mga orcs and mga ano. Thank you so much, Justice Carpio, for that fantastic comprehensive discussion. Alam ko, it was a very hectic but in a way, very successful week. Maraming salamat, Justice Carpio. Is there something in particular people have to look forward to in terms of other Supreme Court? Marami kang kaso sa Supreme Court. I mean, in a good way, mga
Yes,
petitions,
we,
right?
we, we still have we hope to have a decision on the anti-dynasty law because that is really critical.
That is very critical. And anong mga scenarios na nakikita mo dyan sa anti-dynasty law? And dapat kaya kasama sa plataforma ng susunod na presidente ng Pilipinas kaya yan?
Yes, one way for President Bongbong is to say, yes, I support the anti-political dynasty law. I mean, in the same way that Speaker D has said, yes, I'm supporting I mean, you never thought that he would say that because his family is all over the place in Isabela. So miracles do happen in politics.
Or wala silang choice. There's a shotgun like you're gonna make sure your sons and your kids don't run anymore for a while, diba? What is the ideal justice, like second degree of consanguinity? Bawal yung ganon, yung sumunod or spontaneous, like what is the ideal anti-dynasty bill? Because you can
Well,
think of many versions.
for me, in the immediate family, there must be only one national and one local.
See,
And some say, okay, up to the first cousins. Well, okay yun. But you can limit it to one national and one local.
national law. And term limit? Should they have term limit?
Yeah, we can maintain the term limits. That's I think people will accept that. That's why if you've served 3 times, you can be succeeded by a by your son, but one local and one national.
Maximum, kumbaga, yun yung ceiling. You put a ceiling. As they say, miracles happen, especially when there's no choice for politicians. So make sure tuloy-tuloy yung mobilization and pressure natin. For now, medyo nag-survive siguro si Marcos until New Year. But I think next year again, we never know, no? It's still a moving target. On that note, mabuhay ka, Justice Carpio. Thank you so much for your advocacies. And as I assure you, many people are supporting you and many people are energized by your continued commitment to making our democracy more mature and inclusive. Maraming salamat, Justice. Have a lovely weekend and looking forward to catching up in person with Ronald, Sir Ronald sa Manila House later this month. And hopefully, we'll have one more episode perhaps with each other before our ultimate year ender. Maraming salamat, Justice. God bless po.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. Thank you to our viewers.
Salamat.